Okay, so welcome back to the video. So in this particular video, I'm going to be introducing you to operators and the number data type. So just to get started, um, let me just comment out the word number. So yeah, this is exactly the name of the data type. So um, the first example I'm going to give is I'm going to give something like let x be 1. Then I'll add a semicolon. And this is as simple as back in high school or whenever when we used to say let x be equal to 1, and whenever we try to find the value of x, obviously it's we're referring to the 1. So this is the same thing in the same situation. So we could say something like let x be equal to 1, and we could also say let y be equal to 2, and we'll add our semicolon. So if we wanted to view the output of this, we could view it from our console or even from our HTML. So let's say we're viewing this from our HTML. So remember, based on the previous video, I said if you ever want to view something from your HTML, you use the document dot get elements by ID. This one you could also use by class name if if you want to use class name, but most times when I'm working with JavaScript, I like to work with ID. So I use get element by ID, then add a bracket. So inside the bracket is where you specify whatever ID you want to manipulate. So anyways, if you go to your HTML document, in this case I want to work with this ID called sample ID. So I'll click on it and highlight and copy. So inside my script.js, I'm going to then specify the ID. So what this is saying is go to my HTML document, get an element by its ID. So specify the ID, then you say dot inner text, then dot inner text, then you now say equal to, then you can say X. So just to explain this, basically I'm saying go to my HTML document, get an element by its ID which I just specified, then the inner text should become. So remember, this equal to sign is kind of the same thing as saying become. I'm saying let x become 1, let y become 2. Now I've said let this, the inner text of this should now become x, which is 1. So once I hit save, 1 is going to be displayed. And what if I wanted to view the one for y? If I hit save, 2 is going to be displayed. So now to come down to the difference between number and strings, because in the previous video I explained to you strings. So if I'm to come down to the difference between number and strings, I would simply point out the fact that string uses quotation, and not just that it uses quotation, that quotation actually symbolizes that we want it to come out exactly how we want to, exactly how we typed it. So for example, for x, let's say making this for x. So if I happen to type something like 1 plus 1, so because this is a number and it doesn't use any quotation, it's going to calculate immediately. So I'm going to have something like, if I hit save, it's going to be 2 because it automatically calculates 1 plus 1, and you could have 1 plus 1 plus 1, and when I hit save, it's going to be 3. But if I happen to put this in quotation, it means this is no longer a number type, this is now a string. So if I happen to hit save, it's going to appear just like I've typed it. So it's going to appear like this. So that's the difference between a string and a number. String appears directly how you type it, and number calculates numbers. So it basically works with only numbers and calculates the number itself without displaying it as a text. So that's the difference between a number data type and a string. So if you also wanted to view this on the console, you could view it as console log, and you could view X. And if you hit save, you could come over to your browser, click on it, and hit Ctrl+Shift+C, and go over to your console section. And once you come here, you could see the value of X, which is 2. And if the same thing applies, if I wanted to convert this back to a string, I could just add my quotation, and it means this is a string, meaning I want to view it just as it is without any calculation. And once I hit save, now it's going to be 1 plus 1. And the numbers are actually not just limited to addition alone. You could also divide, and you could also multiply. So I could have something like this. So I could have something like 1 plus 1, and if I try to view the value of X, it's going to give me 2. And I could have something like 2, or I could have something like 10 divided by 2. So divided, I'm going to use a slash for it, then divided by 2, and I'm going to have my 5. And I could also have 10 times 2. So it's going to be the asterisk is going to serve as my times. And once I do 10 times 2, I'm going to get a 20. So you could as well work with actually millions, and you could just Google and search for whatever you want to use. But these are just the basics, and this is how it works. So taking it back to how it was when I was explaining with strings. So this is how you could get it to display exactly how you want it to display. So that's that. If you found this video to be useful, kindly leave a thumbs up and kindly leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe and check out the next video to learn more.